Welcome to the Super Breakdown Podcast, where cosmic tales unfold. Join Power Maximus, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy Jason M40 on a journey through heroic realms, where legends are born and destinies entwine. Delve into the cosmic currents, unraveling the mysteries of superheroes, villains, and champions. Embrace the cosmic energy that binds us all, and let your journey begin. This is the Super Breakdown Podcast. Enter the cosmic saga.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I came to bring the pain. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing today? Welcome back to the Super Breakdown Podcast. I am the Power Maximus, and we are here with Lord Triage, everyone's favorite demigod, and the Dark Legacy himself, Jason M40. We are the Super Breakdown. What is up, everybody? How y'all doing today? How's the week been, my people? How's your week been?
Oh,
wow. Okay, that was underwhelming. What's up? All right. Jay, what about you?
My week's been good. My work week is at an end. Thank God. Now it is
Lucky
time
mine's just starting.
Oh man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, nah. I'm not looking forward to going back to work. I work for the school, so when the kids don't have school, I don't have work.
One of the nice things about working in a school.
Yeah, and you still get paid for it, so that's always lovely.
Yeah.
What about you, Triage? How's it been for you?
I'm here.
Felt that.
Yeah.
No, my week was all right. Would have been better if the weather wasn't garbage.
Honestly.
There's nothing but rain, snow, ice, and freezing cold. And man, I damn near started a bonfire in my house to keep the shit warm. It was crazy.
Yo, honestly, when the weather is like down, like rainy, dark for like a week straight, that affects your mood, bro. Really?
No, heavily. I was like crawled up in bed with the baby girl majority of the time. But we are here to talk about, in my opinion, one of the coolest mutants. I mostly one because of the future aspect of it, but just his powers alone, I always think his powers are pretty damn cool. We're talking about the one, the only, the mythical man from the future, Bishop. Now, I don't remember when I was first introduced to Bishop, but I mean, it definitely wasn't in the comic books. I'm pretty sure it was the X-Men animated series. I'm pretty sure it was then.
It was for me. Him and that damn mullet.
You see, CJ, I told you he had a mullet. I told you he had a mullet. Oh, bro, tell me how I just realized he cut the mullet in '97.
Yeah, no respect. What self-respecting black man got a mullet?
I mean, this is true. I'm a white guy, and I'm even saying that.
I'm just saying.
I mean, really.
Not for real. You're right. Yeah, I think maybe he came back in time and was like, oh, you know what? Everybody was right in the future. This ain't cool. This is not cool. Even if the people in the past are saying it's not cool, then it's not cool.
He probably showed up, realized you didn't see anybody with the same hairstyle he had, and he was like, oh shit, this is embarrassing.
Said box, cornrows, fade, afros. What is this?
And it's interesting because So Bishop, he's from the 21st century, right? So he was born in the 21st century. But he was born into essentially a mutant concentration camp. Him and his sister Shard. Now, like, no, before we even talk about Bishop, we got to talk about the world that Bishop comes from. So, for those who don't know, Bishop he's a future X-Men. He's a character that comes from the future. He goes back to the past in order to prevent the future that he has, which slightly annoyed me about. Like, I enjoyed X-Men Days of Future Past. Not many people did, but I enjoyed it. Right?
Mhm.
What and that's one thing that kind of like put me off from the film was that they sent Wolverine back in time while they got Bishop standing right there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so here's the thing with that. So Bishop was only sent back in time in the 90s cartoon. In the
Mhm.
actual comic, it's Kitty Pryde.
Oh yeah.
That's why if you look at the cover of the comic, the classic picture of Wolverine in front of all the wanted pictures, that's Kitty Pryde next to him.
Yeah, Shadowcat.
Yeah.
Because her powers advanced to the point where she's not able just to walk through walls, she can walk through time and dimensions.
Yes, and that was why she went.
Mm-hmm.
So from that aspect, I agree with you. I think it's one of those things like Wolverine's just the most popular character, and it's Hugh Jackman. So it's like,
Yes, yep, exactly.
I think that was the whole reason why that happened. But it's also, in my opinion, I would have appreciated Bishop more. But I also think it's one of the things like where it wouldn't have worked as well sending Bishop back to the 70s.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, that is kind of true.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. That makes a lot more sense. Yep.
Like Wolverine going, like, he's been there, done that. He can fit in easier.
Oh yeah, fitting in is definitely would have definitely been the issue for Bishop. Would definitely been an issue in the 70s. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you figure in the movie, Nixon's president.
Mm-hmm.
And Nixon's president from what, 69 to like 74, 75? Whenever it is he's impeached. So it's like,
yeah.
well, not impeached when he resigns, excuse me.
When he resigned. Oh man.
So,
I mean, the 70s had a lot going on though.
but also, once again, you're gonna have a brother dressed the way Bishop was, big ass gun. Nah, dog. There's no way that's ending in his favor. So
Yeah.
Not at all.
He's just gonna get shot at immediately.
not that would hurt, but anywho.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think it's one of those things like where I think it was just popularity in the character and who would work for the quote unquote story. Now, once again, like I would have liked to have seen Bishop, but technically it was Kitty Pryde who went back in time, and that would have been more comic accurate.
Yeah. Now my thing is that I also understand Wolverine as well, because I believe they said like the toll that it takes on like his brain, he was the only one I'll be able to survive it because of his healing factor.
Yes.
So that on that aspect, that also it makes sense as well. But no, I would have enjoyed it instead of pretty much they had him die. They had Bishop die when those super advanced Sentinels were attacking.
Which
yeah, they did.
Makes no sense to me, but I'll nod and go along with it.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah.
not the fact that Bishop died. I'm talking about the super advanced Sentinels. So
Yeah.
So hold
Yes.
on. So before we kick this hornet's nest real quick, break down. let's break down Bishop's ability.
Yep, let's do it.
It's somewhat similar to oh my gosh, the other one we were literally just talking about.
Sebastian Shaw.
Oh my gosh. He has the pole and the cards.
Oh, Gambit.
Gambit. I don't know why his name was escaping me, but
in a way,
yeah, it's like somewhat.
Well, yeah. So while Gambit's powers worked by pretty much transferring the potential energy of something into kinetic energy, it's the same idea. They're both converting energy, but what Bishop does is he takes the energy in and he's able to redirect it out.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, what, 10 times stronger?
Yeah, he throws it back with like triple the force.
Mm-hmm. And so pretty much, so power wise, energy absorption, that's like his number one, kind of like his main thing. That's he's considered a what? He's an alpha level mutant. Yeah. I believe he's categorized at an alpha level. So energy absorption. So that means
he can basically take anything.
Yeah, like energy, which includes magic, sound, light, psionic, psychic, and even like either environmental or so pretty much like anything that's thrown towards him, he can redirect it.
Yeah,
energy wise, and like it courses through his body, and then I don't know when. But all right, so in Gifted, we pretty much see like Bishop's ancestor, essentially in the show Gifted, which is a really good show, which I'm pissed off that they canceled. But he was the leader of the Morlocks at the time, and he branded himself with the M over his eyes. He had the same power; he could absorb energy and redirect it. But yeah, so then pretty much is like energy metabolization. Well, that which is pretty much what the name of energy absorption. So he gets a regeneration, invulnerability, energy resistance, psionic resistance, superhuman strength, superhuman stamina, enhanced speed, energy sensing, so he can sense where energy is coming from, energy conversion, concussive blast, spatial awareness. Yeah. So his list goes on.
So really, he's a top notch level mutant, and I feel like we don't really get to experience that.
Oh, I can agree with that. Like we don't really see Bishop much. Either you see him in the show, or you see him in the animated, or you see him in. Honestly, it's really that. And then the one time we see him in Days of Future, literally only for like what, maybe like 3-4 minutes. We see him at the beginning of Days of Future Past.
A few scenes, yeah.
He's played by Omar Sy.
Yeah, well, from what I took from the cartoon from the '90s was they didn't want to see Bishop because Bishop was technically a man at a time. So it's like, if memory serves me correctly, because the first time you see him was the whole Days of Future Past incident. But every time Bishop came back, it's because something happened as a result of something that he did or was around or involved in when he came back in time. Bishop created a paradox.
Yeah, so I think it got to a point where anytime they saw Bishop, they're like, "Fuck, what happened? Well, we mess up now."
Yeah, so like automatically, if you saw him, you knew that something was going on. Like,
so I believe the first time was the whole Days of Future Past thing. Then Bishop goes back, and then it's the legacy virus.
Oh yeah,
which wiped out like 99% of the mutant population. And then Bishop comes back again. It's the Age of Apocalypse.
Wow.
So like every time you saw Bishop, there was something going on. But the problem became because Bishop kept messing with the timeline to fix things. He basically wrote himself almost out of time. So he was a man at a time.
Oh wow.
Like his universe, which that version of him existed in, doesn't exist anymore.
Because he kept not being there.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, that makes sense, kind of.
Yeah. Now, along with his powers, let's also not forget his other abilities as well. He's a skilled combatant. He's a master marksman, weapons expert. He's multilingual. He's fluent in like Mandarin, French, and Arabic.
That's another thing that the arsenal of guns this man has is just fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god!
To the point where you can like basically energize any weapon to use with your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we see that in Days of Future Past. He gets charged and he's channeling his energy through his rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Which is sick.
And there's one point where like he's standing there absorbing as much of the blast from the Sentinel as he can. And he attempted to redirect it.
As a last hurrah, and that's when they kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, that makes sense to me in that aspect because, like, what happens when you overcharge a battery? It explodes. So
yes, like that's understandable.
But I was saying, my issue was the Sentinel thing because it never made sense to me how they use Mystique's DNA to weaponize the Sentinels so the Sentinels could adapt to anyone's powers. That never once made sense to me.
So from what I had understood is that Mystique's power eventually does evolve, and she is able to then recreate other people's powers as well. From my understanding.
See, originally from what I understood, but even before some of the films, that's what I thought Mystique's power was as well. She was able to change her skin, appear as different people. However, she was able to copy other people's abilities. And it's kind of interesting. In the first X-Men film, you kind of see when she's pretending to be Wolverine and fighting Wolverine, she has the claws, but Wolverine cuts her claws off because they're not real.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I just remembered that. So that's kind of interesting.
I guess they could try to like work their way out of that and work their way around that because they can just be like, oh, well, because it's a part of his physical anatomy, he was able to, she was able to like copy it.
Yeah.
But having the ability to actually like use them and have them like retract and come go in and out. You're on to something there, Jay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's one of those things where she's just copying it. She's copying the physical appearance. So I mean, that makes sense to a certain extent, but that's also one of those things like, all right, just because she copies Nightcrawler's tail doesn't mean she can use it the same way he does.
I mean, there's definitely no way that when she was pretending to be Wolverine fighting him, that she had the ability to self-heal. Like, there's no way that, you know what I mean?
Right. So I think it's one of those things like, it never made sense to me for that aspect. If anything, if they had used Rogue's DNA to weaponize the Sentinels, that would have made sense.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Or even if they hadn't killed Darwin off, they can use Darwin.
Yeah, there's even a better example.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the argument of her just being able to change, like they use that as the argument to being able to adapt, but it just doesn't.
It doesn't translate well.
Yeah.
If her powers were just to change her appearance.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Yeah. Because again, just because she turned into Wolverine doesn't mean she has an adamantium skeleton.
Exactly. I mean,
because I'm pretty sure he ran her through.
He did.
Yeah, and that's why in was it Last Stand or something like that? When they're she's shapeshifting inside the tent.
Yeah, she pretends to be Jean.
And he slides his hand down her side and he feels the scars. He's like, oh, and that's when he realizes, like, oh, you're not Jean, because he remembers that where he stabbed her at.
Yeah.
I think about that. I never thought about that triage. Okay. Movie probably wasn't as great as I thought it was. Like, I knew it wasn't like amazing, but I enjoyed it. But now I'm like, oh, yeah, probably not what I thought it was now. But no, yeah. So the way I feel like they sourly misused, like very like so seriously misused him in that film.
I agree.
And now while watching Gifted, there was rumors that the season 3 of Gifted was going to bring in members of the X-Men. It was rumored that Halle Berry was going to come back to play Storm, because in Gifted, the X-Men are gone, disbanded, because of a situation that happened that ended up killing, like, it was like a mutant terrorist attack that killed a bunch of humans. So now mutants are like straight like outlawed. So think about
the terrorist attack my balls. Basically, the Brotherhood was set tripping. The X-Men set them straight. Some people got killed. And next thing you know, Uncle Sam was basically like, oh, these niggers are being too rowdy. Lock them up. Shoot them on sight. Get them out of here. We can't have this. They were like, oh, no, get them Sambos out of here. Moving along, boys.
Well, no, they actually showed that it was like an actual explosion that went off, and that's what killed Homeboy's daughter.
No, I get that, but it was like it wasn't. That was what happened, but it wasn't a quote unquote terrorist attack. Like they used that word because they wanted to label them as such.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I get that. All right, yeah, no, they're like, oh, it was just a regular ass fight between them that got out of hand, and the government was like, yeah, terrorists.
Some fucking pencil pusher in Washington said, "Thank you, God. Watch me spin this," and then, and that's what it became.
Yeah, how much you got on it? I bet you $100 I can spin this.
Like this violent, vicious terrorist attack by these second-class citizens who don't want to mesh with society, who are nothing but violent degenerates. Like I can already hear it now. Like
those people,
those uncivilized.
Oh my God,
those muties,
those mutants, muties, the muties. Just
oh man, but yeah. So in the world of Gifted, yeah, the X-Men have disbanded. Mutants are outlawed or whatever. The Sentinel program is just starting to get off the ground, and so now we see characters like
and I would like to point that out real quick is that they really made them real Gestapos in that show.
The Sentinels.
Yes, the Sentinel services were straight Gestapos.
Yeah, yeah.
They coming in your house, running through your shit, no questions asked, no warrant, no knock.
Extermination squad.
Exactly. They peep you as a mutant or a mutant sympathizer. Click, click, locked up, gone. So I thoroughly enjoy that.
It's interesting now that I think about it. Wasn't the original concept of the Sentinels? It was the whole point was to be able to detect a mutant, not necessarily to kill a mutant, but to detect them.
Yeah, and then Trask threw in that little added tidbit without the government knowing. 100%, but the government was just like, But I believe it was Trask also orchestrated an event that pretty much got the government to be like, okay, yeah, we got to exterminate them. If I remember correctly, I'm not 100%.
Well, it depends on which version of the material you're reading or watching. So if you watched Wolverine and the X-Men, which was another great show that they canceled out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
You come to find out that Magneto was working along with Senator Kelly, which resulted in all this happening in the first place.
Wow.
So it was supposed to be that Magneto orchestrated an attack on Genosha. That way the mutants could attack the humans as like a preemptive strike in his mind.
As an excuse, like
they're never going to let us live in peace. Like, this is the way we need to handle things. So, but he did that not realizing what would come from it. And then that's what resulted in the whole thing with the Sentinel program being approved on a global level. And next thing you know, they were out hunting mutants left, right, and sideways.
It's all Magneto's fault. Everything's Magneto's fault.
Man, fuck that. Magneto is right. Don't let no one tell you different.
He was. Now I'm pretty sure that was also the storyline in one of the comics as well.
Well,
where that the Hellfire Club was a part of all the whole shit getting started too.
So, if memory serves me correctly, that was the whole reason why Bishop came back in time initially, because someone assassinated Senator Kelly, and in the process of someone assassinating Senator Kelly, it's what resulted in the Sentinel program being pushed. And the person that he believed that did it was Gambit. In the 90s cartoon, he had to figure out which one of them was who had assassinated him. And everyone, he said for his knowledge, it was the X-Men known as Gambit. So when he saw Gambit, he tried to blow him away. And then when they figured out what happened, come to find out, it wasn't Gambit, it was Mystique posing as Gambit. And then this led to the whole thing with everyone questioning Gambit's loyalty, because no one really knew anything about him or knew his past or where he was from. Like, everyone knew just a little bit about him. So it's like, you've always never been straight with us 100%. So like, what is it that you're hiding? And then you find out sometime later that Gambit was a member of the Thieves Guild, and the whole thing with him being exiled from New Orleans and so on and so forth.
His father being the leader of one of the I think we had an episode on Gambit, didn't we?
We did.
Yes. Go check that out. It is on our YouTube channel, within the Super Breakdown podcast playlist. It's all there. It was a while back. It was last March, Mutant March. Yes, right.
Mutant
Yeah,
March.
was it? Yeah,
it was Mutant March.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like, in Gifted, we were working towards getting there, because in the last season before they canceled in season 2, it ended with, because Blink is actually one of the main characters. A young Blink is one of the main characters. For those who don't know, Blink, she's a character who can open portals from point A to point B, right? While Nightcrawler teleports, she can actually open portals that people can walk through. You also see Blink in the beginning scenes of Days of Future Past, right? But now, apparently, so in the end, Blink had disappeared in whatever. Now they're pinned down, they're fighting whatever. And that's where we also at this season were introduced to a ancestor of Bishop's as well, who was the leader of the Morlocks at the time, who had the ability to absorb energy and redirect it. While they're sitting there fighting, a portal opens up behind them. An older Blink jumps out and says, "We need you to come to the future. We need your help." Because a Gifted was supposed to be a continuation. It's supposed to be what led up to Days of Future Past.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So at that point, on season 3, it was rumored that there were going to be members of the original X-Men, showing up here and there. Rumors were that there was going to be Halle Berry was coming back to play Storm, and she was going to be a little mentor to them for a short period of time, and so on and so forth. Because the actor who plays, what is his name? Not Thunderbird. We talked about him as well.
I know who you're talking about.
Not Nightbird, Blackbird.
Oh, you talking about Warpath?
Warpath. Warpath. Sorry, Warpath. Who am I thinking of with the bird in their name?
Thunderbird. You're thinking of Thunderbird.
Thunderbird. Yeah, because wasn't Thunderbird his brother?
Yes.
Yeah, Thunderbird was his brother, and then he passed down the his brother was an X-Men. He died. He sacrificed himself on a mission to save them, and then his brother comes in and he takes up the mantle of Thunderbird, but then changing it to Warpath.
Correct.
Later on down the line, I remember we talked about him in a early episode as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he's like the leader of them, but we also see him in Days of Future Past as well in the beginning. It's actually, I'm pretty sure it's the same actor.
No.
Okay. Well, then I'm wrong. It's not the same actor. But same character. So I was expecting in this season 3 of Gifted that never happened that we were going to see characters like Bishop, and hopefully they would have got Omar Sy to come back and play Bishop as well, and then we get to see the events that happened that led up to Days of Future Past. Because again, like we said, like Bishop is a highly underrated character. We do not see him nearly as much as we should.
Yeah,
but it's also, I feel like the problem with that is also how would you write that, because of the character's origins, because of his powers and abilities, and like the reasons that he comes into the picture. You'd really have to figure out a way to like write that and make it good.
Honestly, Bishop is the perfect centerpiece.
Yeah, well, I really think that they could write a story just around him. You know what I mean? And like, because look what they did with Deadpool, and they used Cable, because Bishop and Cable, they go hand in hand a lot of time.
Oh, well, I was about to ask, besides like Bishop, you know, traveling time and that narrative, what other like what major fights does he partake in?
So as of right now, there's like 3 major ones. One initially with the Senator Kelly situation, the Days of Future Past storyline. And then he has his own comic book line called The Last X-Men.
Gotcha. Yep.
So they could pull from that. There's the Summers Rebellion that happens in his timeline. That's actually where his parents die at. It died during the Summers Rebellion.
Gotcha. So there really is like plenty that they could work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So pretty much when Lila Miller visited this future that they're in, she inspired an elderly and bitter Cyclops to fight for mutant rights. Together with his daughter Ruby, they started the rebellion against the humans oppressing the mutants, and began recruiting more mutants for their ranks. So pretty much it was Scott Summer. They started the whole thing. Nah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to remember who Lila is. Like what? Like
who Lila Summers is?
No, Layla Miller.
Oh, excuse me.
Like, cause she's a really big. She's an important character. I know. I can't remember. In the house kitchen with her 2 loving parents. Mr. Miller's died in a tragic automobile accident. Layla was placed in a St. John's orphanage in the Bowery of New York City. Soon after relocating to the orphanage, Layla's mutant powers manifested, and she grew horns and discovered that she could breathe fire. Frightening humans in orphanage, she was rejected.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Her code name was Butterfly.
That does not ring a bell for me.
What does she look like? Huh. 616. Let me see if I can find her in that form. Maybe it's the form that I don't know about. Because she's branded with the M. And now from our understanding, if a mutant is branded with the M, that's when they pretty much they're no longer, I hate to use the phrase, but human passing, which means they no longer they're
Can't be
they're kinda,
recognized by like as a human anymore.
yeah, you can tell that they're mutant. They have physical deformities based off due to their powers. Like Warren.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, Nightcrawler. Yeah, Nightcrawler. Big one right there. Yep, Nightcrawler. Yeah, they don't look human anymore. But yeah, so there's like I said, there's a Summers Rebellion, there's a Days of Future Past incident. Like that, and the Days of Future Past, that's a big one. That's a really, really big one. What else? What else does he have? There's the Apocalypse. I'm sorry, not Apocalypse. Fucking yeah, Apocalypse, right?
Yeah, the Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, Age of Apocalypse. I don't know why I blanked on that, but yeah, the Age of Apocalypse storyline.
Bishop is also one of the few mutants that keep his powers after M Day.
Oh yeah, yep. That's House of M storyline, right?
Yes.
Yep. So there's a lot. There's a whole story of him chasing the mutant Messiah. That will be interesting. That would be very interesting if they decided to do a story like that takes place in his future.
That would be interesting.
Matter of fact, because it would be because while Bishop's actually back in time, one of the problems that happens, he winds up losing one of his arms. It's shot off. And he winds up having to replace it with one of Forge's bionic ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then while he's in the past, he actually discovers that fucking Hope Summers is directly responsible for his future.
Ooh. You know what? I'm not sure. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think in Days of Future Past, does he not have a bionic arm?
I can't remember.
No, but what it was his rifle was
I know that is connected to him. Yeah.
Yeah, his rifle was like connected to him. So he didn't have a bionic arm, but it was like what was that?
I'm curious now.
I know. I can't remember. I feel like I don't know why my brain is telling me he did. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. I literally just let me see. Let's see. Looking at the photo now. No, he does not. No, okay. He does not.
Only brought it up because I couldn't remember, and I just thought that would be interesting if they put that in there.
Yeah, no, he had like a tube that connected from his body to his rifle.
Yeah,
and that's another thing. Like you said, you brought up all the different weapons that he has. And the big one was what's it called? The XSE. So he has XSE guns that fire laser beams and plasma charges. He's able to recharge them with his own stored energy. But now during his rampage throughout history, while searching for Hope, like you said, he snagged a host of lethal armaments with which he'd use to corner Cable in the future. I forgot that storyline. He had like napalm that burns over water. He had a fucking tactical nuke. He had biological and chemical weaponry as well. And then teleportation. So Bishop, he also has like several time travel devices as well, allowing instant travel to any time or place. But we don't ever really get to see that too much.
Yeah,
like the most we see that is with Cable, and when Deadpool starts playing around with his time machine cuff shit, whatever it is. Yeah, so
that's the only time we really see a time device like that.
Yeah, I mean, excluding any of the TVA shit, excluding any of that, I can't even really say shit. I don't know what to call it anymore. So I just leave it alone. So, but there's so many different levels to this character that we don't get to see that have not been explored. And I like what you were saying there, Triage. That would be really interesting. Hold on, let's take a quick break. Let's hear from some of our amazing podcast friends that are doing some amazing things. I'm pretty sure Lady Mandalore probably just wrapped up if she did do a show this week. But yeah, let's hear from them and see what they're doing, and we'll be right back, and we'll talk about how we would run it if we were writing a Bishop storyline. Be right back.
Going on, everybody, Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Roomful of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glaze-over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I would have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
Join the Pulse. We're excited to announce the launch of Heartline Comics' newest line, the Barcode Collection. Our fresh drop just hit the internet and is turning heads. Imagine this: you're rocking our merch, and friends can scan the barcodes to instantly connect with the Heartline Comics website. It's a game changer. Stay ahead of the curve and never miss a beat. Subscribe to our website for exclusive alerts on the latest merch drops and the newest comics hitting the shelves. Be part of the Heartline community and show off your style with pride. Trust us. You don't want to miss this.
All right, and we're back. Definitely please go check them out. Indie Breakdown, Roomful of Blurs, Icarus Podcast, as well as check out Heartline's Barcode Collection. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. So when it comes to Bishop, being from the future, his the countless stories he's been a part of, his powers and abilities. Triage, how would you let's put it this way. All right, so let's take the MCU as it is right now. Right? Let's take the MCU as it is right now. How would you write him into the MCU?
So I would have it to the point where, as the MCU stands, I would have him appear in the X-Men. Give it like the first solo X-Men movie. If we're completely redoing this, all right? Mm-hmm. Because having him just pop up anywhere is not going to make sense.
Yeah.
Because Bishop is a mutant, his issues are usually directly tied to mutants. So, say Bishop pops up, And the first thing you hear about is the whole thing with the legacy virus.
Yep.
And how the legacy virus is being cooked up by the government to wipe out mutants because mutants are a threat to society. They're a problem, X, Y, and Z, whatever the case may be. Yada, 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 yada. So Bishop comes back in time to fix that. Lo and behold, he fixes it. All right. Then when Bishop gets back to his timeline, the whole Age of Apocalypse thing is going on.
That would both makes more sense and be entertaining.
So it's like, all right, now we realize, like, you didn't say like Forge sent him back in time. Forge built a time machine, but Forge doesn't remember him now. So he's like, what do you mean I sent you back in time? Like, I don't even know who you are. Like, da, da, da. And then, like, he fills him in. He tells him about the mission. He goes, all right, well, if that was the case, well, we have another problem we need to address. He sends Bishop back in time. Bishop pops back up, and they're like, yo, Bishop, we just saw you. What's up? And he goes, yeah, there's another problem. Fixes that, whatever, to the best of his ability. But as you know, you never can stop Apocalypse.
Yeah.
He goes back. He goes to a world that's controlled by Sentinels now. You know, the government's gotten wise to everything going on with mutants. They feel mutants are a threat. Mutants are a problem. Bishop goes back again and then tries to figure out what the problem was that caused the Sentinels. And then this causes the Phoenix saga to unfold because Jean Grey goes nuclear. She gets all this power. She becomes a quote-unquote global threat. No one can trust mutants anymore. The Avengers get involved. And then this can tie into the whole X-Men versus Avengers thing because now we got the X-Men and the Avengers going to war over the power of the Phoenix Force.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Everything that Triage just explained, I feel like fans would love because it makes sense. Like the timeline makes sense. Like things that happen cause other things to happen.
Right. And then while all these things are going back and forth, like the second, like say, like the X-Men gets established, next thing you know, they're sitting down with say like they give like a post-credit scene where Xavier's being approached by Mr. Fantastic, Namor, the Black Panther, and they're like, yo, we gotta talk to you about something. In this is what the forms the Illuminati. And then the next thing you know, lo and behold, after the whole thing, like with the Age of Apocalypse, the Illuminati starts talking amongst themselves, like, you know, can we truly trust the mutants? Do we need to be prepared to fight them? Like, this is one of those things like, well, if this shit goes sideways, we got to be able to buckle the fuck down. Maybe we have to take them out. And then let's see, say like Xavier has eyes or ears in the room and overhears this. So now he's like, all right, the mutants, they're just as afraid as the mutants as they are everybody else. And then let's also not forget, especially when it comes to the X-Men, there's also other mutants who are on the opposite side. Like, where's Magneto at in all this?
That's very true. I was just thinking that.
Where's the Brotherhood? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, and as a kid, you know, you want to join the X-Men. As an adult, the Brotherhood makes more sense.
Way more sense. I like that. I feel like I just hope I wouldn't have them run that off of the first X-Men film from the MCU.
I wouldn't. That's not one film. That's like over the course of like 6.
No, I'm talking about with him, because you said they'll have the X-Men movie, and then at the end of that, he pops up. I kind of like it because then it opens up and expands for all these different films to come together, so they can literally run. They could pretty much kind of do their own standalone X-Men shit, like have it be a part of the MCU, but they could build it the same way that they built the MCU. But
the reason why I say it that way is because the X-Men team is so vast and so diverse, and it's like, say, like every time X Bishop comes back, the team is bigger or the team is changed. Like if you do the original X-Men movie with the original 5 X-Men. Now, if you know your X-Men, the original 5 X-Men are Cyclops, Jean Grey,
Beast,
Iceman, and Angel. Yeah.
Yep.
So now some people aren't going to be fans of those 5 if we just show those 5.
That's very true.
But that's the original team. And then say like once again we can go full giant size X-Men with this shit, and Xavier be like, oh, my first class is graduated, now I need to teach my second class. Would you guys care to help me with this? And they kind of look at each other and go, the second class? Who's the second class? And then who comes through the door but fucking Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Thunderbird, Rogue, and it's like, oh, all right, well, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be good because Thunder, and now that'll become book accurate because Thunderbird was a part of second class,
right? And then it's like you can actually have like Thunderbird die on a mission, and then that puts this shit in perspective for them. Like, yo, this ain't a joke. This is serious.
Yeah. We're just like, it's not other people's lives that are at stake here. It's also ours.
Like, why do we have to buckle down and fight this war for people that hate us? Like, so on and so forth. And as that gets said and done, who appears with an alternative to how to handle this situation, but Magneto.
I mean, I would like to see them jump into like a serious kind of arc of Rip with the X-Men, and I feel like running it with Bishop would be good. I think they needed. I'd be down with them taking the approach that 97 did with Mr. Sinister.
With Bishop?
Mm-hmm. And then having him and pretty much in a way to introduce Bishop. But like clearly they'll have to take their own liberties with it because the way they did it in 97 isn't the same way they'll be able to do it live in live action. But have it they establish the X-Men first, right? Have an establishing film with the X-Men, post credit scene, Mr. Sinister, that film, and then maybe they can just lead up to Mr. Sinister as one of their big bads. I don't want to see Magneto off rip. We've seen Magneto. I don't want Magneto to be a big bad yet.
But here's my thing. It's like Magneto's not. We keep having this misconception that Magneto's the bad guy. Magneto's not the bad guy.
No, I meant in the like actually in like an X-Men movie, because all we've ever seen them do is X-Men versus Magneto in Brotherhood. X-Men versus Magneto in the Brotherhood.
Yeah, like the majority of the time that we have seen and been exposed to Magneto, they've made him the bad guy. Yeah,
literally, they've made him the bad guy in everything. Whether he starts out good, like in First Class, and then turns, and then only time we saw him not be I can't even say that because even in Days of Future Past, we see older him.
Well, in Days of Future Past, he was with the X-Men, and
but when they went, into the past, he was. Young him doing young him shit.
Yeah, very true.
So for me, it just I don't want to see them do that again. You know what I mean? Have it as Magneto's. He's there. He's doing his Brotherhood shit. Because to me, we understand Magneto really isn't the bad guy. He does some bad shit, but he really isn't the bad guy.
Listen, Xavier's done some bad shit. I don't want to hear that.
Xavier's done some fucking.
Xavier's done some wild shit.
Xavier's done some Albus Dumbledore shit. But so I don't want to see that. I would like to see them find someone else. Because you see, all right, so how they just did this shit with the Avengers, with the Infinity Saga. All that, everything led up to the big bad Thanos. I would like them to do the same thing with X-Men.
But once again, like, what frame are you talking? Because you're talking about something that was a good decade plus and 18 movies in the making. Like, that's not.
I mean, they can do it. Maybe not. They don't.
No,
they don't
I'm not disagreeing with you by no means. Yeah. But what time frame are we talking?
For how long? To be honest, they could even do it. They can even do it relatively quickly because the X-Men they have quite a few big bads. You know, because again, we just talked about Apocalypse. He's a major big bad. We just saw him. You know, and what was his name? In Sabanur.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just saw him at the end of X-Men 97, so that'll be really nice. And then Mr. Sinister, he's pretty bad. We can run the Dark Phoenix saga as well, and then like you said, we can end up having that all
No. I say we skip the Dark Phoenix saga. We ain't done that. We ain't seen that done right yet.
Yeah, that is true, but this could be the chance because that that whole Dark Phoenix thing really opens up a lot. It opens up for, like you said, it opens up for X-Men versus Avengers.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
And like I said, so I don't get me wrong, I agree with you. We have not seen it done well at all. So we can have the initial establishing of the X-Men. I don't want an X-Men origin film.
No, I don't think we need to do that. I think they need to do X-Men the same way they did the Avengers. Excuse me, not the way they did Avengers. They should do the X-Men the same way they did Spider-Man. Show that the X-Men are already established, at least the core team is, and have it be the first 5. And then have it be to the point where it's like, all right, they're established. We get a glimpse of their powers or know what their powers are. We have a dynamic of what their powers are and how they work as a team.
Yeah, and you need a beginning of like the time frame.
Yeah, so it's not like they're Charles is going around collecting them and bringing them together. No, they're already together. They've been training for some time. We can have them be young. Not too young, but that's first class. We can have them still have been
20s.
20s. Yeah. Let's say they've been the X-Men for maybe about a good 4 or 5 years. They got some time in the game already.
Right.
They got a little bit of seasoning on them. They're not just salt and pepper. They got a little bit. They got a little sazon. You know what I mean? They got a little bit of seasoning.
Stupid.
Well, so let's say that during this whole thing, like the person who got recruited last, let's say like the person who just got recruited is Bobby Drake, because Bobby Drake was the youngest.
Yep.
So let's say Iceman was the last person to join the original team. So because Bobby was so young, say like he was like the one who necessarily didn't take shit seriously, he's still having fun with shit, this, that, and the third. All right. And then it's like once the movie ends, the other X-Men graduate and he goes, Bobby, would you want to stay on? And Bobby's like, yeah, this isn't kind of for me. I think I'm gonna do my own thing. And he's like, all right, well, Robert, you're always welcomed here. And he was like, I was hoping that you'd help me with the second class. And like I said, he'd be like second class. And then here comes the next generation X-Men.
Yeah, they walk in the door here as they walk through the door. Honestly, and that'll be like how it ends. I can see that. I can see that. I mean, but here's the thing though. When an X-Men graduates, where do they go? It seems like these things graduate and then just sleep, sit on the couch.
Well, you can go back into the world as an established person, and like Angel, I imagine, went on to go help with his father's company. Beast went off to get his doctorate, stuff like that. But it's like certain people saw higher callings as far as like whether it be business, finance, the government, wherever the case may be. So in that aspect, I kind of understand it, but it's also one of those things, like you said, you got to remember most of the X-Men who graduate, most of the X-Men who graduate and stay on become teachers or to the students. You remember, Xavier ran a whole school.
Yeah. It wasn't just a home. It was also a school. Right.
So it's like you figure Bobby Drake's like 18, 19 years old. All right, maybe he's not so much a teacher, but for all intensive purposes, he could be
like a counselor or something like that along the lines.
Like he could be like he could be his bridge between his faculty and the students.
Exactly. Like I said, so like a counselor, he's like, him being the youngest and being the youngest and the latest member of the team, he's able and new to the school. He's that person that like walks the kids around campus. All right, well, yeah, this is what we got over here, and we got this over here, giving them the tour and stuff like that, and welcoming them in and helping them with their transition from into the school, and then if they so wish to transition into the team.
Right. Because you're always going to have that kid who doesn't take it serious, that kid who can't control his powers or X, Y, and Z for whatever reason, just doesn't feel like they don't belong. Like if you watch X2, X-Men United, like when Bobby tells his parents he's a mutant, like they literally wrote that scene like a teenager coming out to his parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you look at it from that aspect, and it's like, because you figure every kid who goes to that school is going to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Who feels alienated on their own, doesn't feel like they can trust anyone, or dangerous to themselves or others. So it's like, and then you got Bobby Drake, who, if you ever read his origin story, damn near froze someone who he got into a fight with. Like, look, I get it. You're afraid. Let me tell you my story. Let me explain to you what's going on. And da-da-da-da.
But let's also not forget where Bobby's story ends up taking him. Bobby he's an Omega level mutant.
That's one of those grand rewrites, but
I mean, later on down the line, he does become an Omega level mutant. Because again, as mutants grow, as they grow in the age, so does their powers. We see that all the time. Their powers that manifest when they're young, or whenever that X gene gets activated, isn't necessarily where their powers are going to end up later on in life.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, somebody who can literally control ice, literally can turn his body into ice, freeze other people, freeze other things. He literally has only one part of Storm's power set. And she's an Omega level queen. Now, I say queen because she literally becomes queen of the whole planet that the X-Men end up having. They have a whole ass planet. But I feel like, yeah, that's how they would have to do it, right? And then things are going smoothly, whatever. They can have it maybe about, all right, so first movie, I'm trying to think of who they would have, because all this needs to, they can't just drop in like boom, Bishop pops up, because in order to have Bishop pop up, they have to have shit set in order.
I mean? certain things would have to be happening.
It needs to make sense for him coming back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I'd say give it about like one, maybe like two, like the second movie in, have post-credit scene Bishop pop up, right? Because what we want to do, we want to get people used to the X-Men. They know the X-Men. We don't have to introduce them, but we want them to get used to the X-Men being a part of the MCU. So we give them the first movie to do whatever. Hell, maybe even have the first person that they go against be Magneto. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, the next movie they move on to, I don't know, something. But we got to make sure that they make sure they cannot make these movies all action. The X-Men movies, they have to add politics into it. It has to be political. It has to be politically charged to an extent, while also still being, having action in it, right? So boom, next they do that second movie. Post-credit scene for the second movie, there's a flash of light, and then boom, camera pans up. We got, we got Bishop in all his glory, mullet and all.
So you're gonna have Method Man wear a mullet.
Yep. Yep. But what we're gonna do is in the next movie, he gonna cut it, because the whole team gonna look at him like, yo, bro, you have to find a way to fit in, bro. That mullet's not it. And that's when he cuts his hair. Have him cut his hair in the second movie. But just so we can give that fan service of having, the full aesthetic of the character. The same way look at what Luke Cage did. The first episode when we see Luke Cage, he's literally wearing the exact costume his original with the tiara and the chains and the fro. So we could it's a little bit of fan service like that. And then what happened?
He said because he looked at himself and he's like, "You look like a damn fool."
And fucking breaks the chains off and takes the tiara off. But yeah, no, we can have something like that. Have some comedy in there. Because we are talking about a culturally relevant character. You know what I mean? So I would love that, and especially Method Man. Method Man, he would add so much charisma to this character as well. So I think that's the way they should do it. Post-credit scene, moving into the second, and then move into the third film. And the third film will be that, hey, picks up from where that post-credit scene left off. And then so the first storyline that Bishop is a part of is the let's see. What's the first one? Arrival in the Present. So that first one was was the Senator, right? Was Senator Kelly?
I believe so, yes.
So let's see. So if I remember correctly, so Fitzroy, he eventually turned criminal and was imprisoned. He broke free and escaped with other mutant criminals back through the time portal to the X-Men's own time. Bishop, Malcolm, and Randall followed. Even though they were aware they had no means to return to their own time, the three eventually found and killed the criminals known as the Lifers. But Malcolm and Randall were killed, and Bishop himself was severely wounded. I think that's when his arm and shit. He was taken to the Institute to recover. During the time that followed, Bishop defeated Fitzroy moments before he could complete his quest. While his methods initially caused conflict with Storm, not to mention his accusations towards Gambit, Bishop, he joined. We know this. He joined the X-Men. He just doing stupid shit. And then during the quest to stop Legion, after altering history, Bishop acted as a chronal anchor with Psylocke, using her psychic knife to link them all. They were unsuccessful triggering. They were unsuccessful, and that triggered the Age of Apocalypse storyline. So we can have that movie, that first movie where Bishop comes into play, play this out to an extent, and maybe take the creative liberties, whatever. But all it needs to do is it needs to successfully and make sense lead into the Age of Apocalypse.
Keyword makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Keyword makes sense. So I think that would be the one of the smoothest ways they could do it. Clearly, they want people to know that it is still a part of the MCU. So ever so often, have them have them add in little cameos from other people, have them mention them. You know what I mean?
Set the story up.
Yeah.
It'll give them time.
Because that's really what it is. It's the build up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's what they did right with the Avengers and the Infinity Saga. The build up into a good story like that. That's really what it was.
Yeah. So what's actually happening, as you're watching it.
Yeah,
But-
so I would say, to answer your question, that was a long way around to answer your question, Triage. I would say about 3 movies. That third movie is where we really get into building Bishop's story. I don't know. I just feel I feel like because that's what they need. That's what I mean. They, like I said, when I said like they should do it like they did the Avengers, that's what they do. The build up. So build up, give it about 3 movies, because clearly ain't nobody got time to sit there and wait 18 movies for some good shit to happen with the X-Men. No. The X-Men, they have the stories, they have they have the characters. They're clearly gonna have them already established within the MCU. So they just need to make sure that they have do a short build up.
Yeah,
they
it
don't
doesn't
even
need to be long because they have movies that they can use from already.
Yeah, exactly. So I just feel like they don't even need to introduce any of the other characters. They just need to, say certain phrases, mention certain people that establishes that they are within the same world as the Avengers. Hell, have like a news report on the TV talking about something that the Avengers did, talking about something that Sam Wilson, Captain America, did. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That way, it puts everything in one world.
Yeah. Yep. There's no guessing it. There's no wondering.
And then leading up, whenever we do that, X-Men versus the Avengers storyline, that's when we start seeing them intertwine with each other and shit like that. And then when they do like Avengers movies or characters that are Avengers, they can do a Captain America Wolverine team up film. You know what I'm saying? They can have them pop in and out and help people here and there, because that's what they did in the Defenders. You remember that, Triage?
The Defenders.
Yeah, when they did that in the Defenders, season 2 of Luke Cage. Because remember, so it was season 1 of Luke Cage. Defenders happened before season 2 of Luke Cage. So they had that whole team up episode where, that team up episode with Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But Iron Fist wasn't there for the whole series, the whole season. He was just there for that one episode. So they could do something like that, like, let's say Cap America or somebody, one of the Avengers or whatnot, are on a mission to do something, and lo and behold, they run into one of the X-Men. They team up just for that little mission, that part of the film, and then boom. All right, well, see you later. Peace. Thanks for the help. Blow up. Dip off. Do something else. They can have little cameos like that just to be like, oh yeah, we are still in the same universe. Let's say Cap, no matter what Cap they do, because maybe by that time they probably might have brought Steve Rogers back. They'll probably have the Sam and Steve running around as Captain America, depending if Chris Evans wants to come back. But like, lo and behold, whoever it is, they're fighting in the office, boom, 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 and like some underground bunker or some shit in like Europe or whatever, and next thing you know, door flies open, and lo and behold, is fucking Wolverine on top with his claws inside of a guy's chest. They look up. Oh, what's up, bub? Logan, what are you doing here? Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. They run through that little mission, boom, dip out. They're gone. You know what I'm saying? And they go their separate ways. Because I forget what animated series it was. I think it might have been X-Men in the Wolverine and the X-Men, where there was an episode where, like, back when Cap was early days, like in World War II, like him and Logan did actually end up teaming up on a mission, and it was to clear out the camp that Magneto as a child was in.
That was Wolverine the X. That was Wolverine. Excuse me. That was X-Men Evolution, the episode.
That was Evolution. Okay.
Yes, because that's where you saw that Project Rebirth was actually killing Steve Rogers. That's why they froze him.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
Damn, I gotta rewatch Evolutions, man. It was such a good series. It was such a good series. But yeah, we can do it that way. And now, and then we can just look forward to shit like that throughout the MCU. These characters is bumping into each other while they're doing shit because now it's like it's kind of hard not to. We got all these teams, all these characters now. You know what I'm saying? And you can't just count on everyone just sitting chilling at home. You know what I mean? When shit's going down, so they're gonna bump into each other while they're out on missions. They're gonna run across each other while they're out on missions.
Yeah, it'll be inevitable.
Help each other out, do what they got to do, and they go these separate ways. But yeah, I think that would be because again, it all boils down to bringing in Bishop the proper way means you also have to bring in the X-Men the proper way to set him up to run his storylines. They can literally have a bunch of the majority of the X-Men storylines be Bishop storylines. Age of Apocalypse, the whole Senator Kelly shit, the Days of Future Past storyline. You know what I mean? Those are three big storylines that they have right there.
Literally huge.
They can run it that way, and then have all that lead up to like a House of M type situation, which is a global event, which involves the X-Men and a bunch of other characters and shit like that. Which could then, if they hold off long enough, lead into the whole my favorite storyline within the MCU as of right now, King in Black storyline. If they fucking do it right, because Noah got to come back at some point in time.
I think you're going to be disappointed.
I'm going to be highly disappointed. I already know. I'm going to be highly fucking disappointed. I know for a fact Null's not coming back until at least after Secret Wars. It's going to be at least until after Secret Wars. Because they got to let those Sony characters cool down a little bit. They definitely got to have them cool down a little bit because shit's too hot for them right now. But no, I'm interested. Have either of you guys seen Cap yet?
I have not.
No,
I have not either. I have not either. I haven't been to the movies in a long time. But if we let's come to a consensus when we all have seen it. We'll do an episode on that and break that movie down.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm hearing majority good things about it, but I'm also hearing some negatives about it as well. So I'm interested. Now, when it comes to Bishop and his character, and like I said, the powers and abilities, you bring him into the MCU. I don't know. We never talked about like his in the comic books and stuff because again, we normally only see him in the comic books, and when we see him, I feel like the story is played out pretty much damn near the same way, whether it be the comic books compared to the animated series, because those are the only ones we really can go off of. We haven't seen live action Bishop yet. But Jay, because I was asking, I was like, who would you cast as Bishop? I say Method Man because he wants the role, which means I'm sure that he will be able to, that he would do an amazing job because he'll have that passion in it as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Jay, who was it that you said?
I said Idris Elba.
I can see him play Bishop.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Who could I see play Bishop?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely Method Man.
Yeah. All right. Because I need. See, the thing is, I feel like Method Man, like at one point he was getting pretty bulky, but I think now he's starting to slim down, like as in muscle wise, because he was like lifting weights like crazy, and he got pretty jacked and ripped and shit. But so I can see if he was if he was put that muscle back on, yeah, absolutely. Definitely, absolutely. Because that's the thing about Bishop. Anytime you see Bishop, like he's a like pretty jacked dude.
Yes.
So I would need to see Method Man be also equally as jacked. But other than that, yeah. I think that's it. That's really it right there. Because Method Man's acting is awesome. It's pretty interesting. Like, I think Method Man as an actor, he's pretty good. So I'm interested. I'm definitely interested in seeing him play. And even then, like, everyone talks about, oh well, how high was a comedy? All right. Was he not on The Wire?
He was on The Wire. He was on Godfather of Harlem. He was
Mm-hmm.
on Power. He was on Ghost. Like, he's done several things. Like, his acting creds are there.
Yep. Soul Plane, Keanu. Believe he was in the Adam Sandler movie, The Cobbler, as well.
Yeah.
This man is IMDb. He has a decent size. Oh, Peppermint as well with J-Lo. Where she was, it's called Peppermint. Pretty much her daughter, pretty much her kid or whatever had gotten killed, and she was running on a whole revenge trip. And
wait, you're thinking of the movie with Jennifer Garner?
As that Garner?
Yes. What's the one that was Electra?
Yeah. What was the one I'm thinking with J-Lo though? Because she had a similar movie.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm hold on, give me a sec, because I'm pretty sure she had to, because they love doing movies like that. Wow. I'm pretty sure she had a movie like that too.
Honestly, I feel like you might be right.
Because again, I know she just came out with the movie. I know, yeah, she just came out with the movie, but give me a sec. What was it? What was it? No, Enough was an older film. Was it The Mother? Yeah, I think it was like something like The Mother, or Lila and Eve. Lila and Eve. So it was with Amanda Waller. Oh my God, Viola Davis. Pretty much their husbands were on the same kind of like were thieves or whatever, and they went to do wait, no, not that one, so pretty much her and Viola Davis are mothers, and their kids were gunned down in a drive-by, so they team up and go all vigilante and track down the people that killed their kids and take them out. Yeah, so yeah, pretty much it's the same damn story. Because like I said, they like to use the same story over and over and over.
I mean, this is true.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah. So yeah, my bad, Garner. But yeah, so he's in that film as well. Look, he got credits. He has fucking acting credits up the ass. Concrete Cowboy as well. That was a good one. That was a really good one. Let's not to mention he was in All right, so y'all know Snoop and Dre dropped an album recently, right?
Yep.
Called Missionary. So what they did for the album is they did a short film on YouTube called Missionary. He was in that as well.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. He was also on. He also voiced Torg in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which is an actually very good show. I used to watch it with my stepson. It's a good show. So he has not only his regular acting credits, but he also has voice acting credits as well. So, and not to mention producer credits, Vampires versus the Bronx on Netflix. I just remember that too. Then I don't know if you remember that show that Tracy Morgan did after he got hit by the truck or whatever, called The Last OG.
Never saw it.
Oh, that's actually pretty damn funny. But he was in that too. Jay and Silent Bob, the reboot. He was in the new Shaft movie that came out. Like, yeah, no, my guy got acting credits. Orange is the New Black. Like, man, yes. So I would say Method Man, definitely. I don't know. I can't really see anybody else.
I mean, Method Man makes the most sense.
Yeah, he does, but it also kind of sucks that I can't think of anybody else that I think would be able to play that role. I agree. I definitely agree with you that Idris Elba would be great. Because he has that older gruffness. Because it also depends on like the age range that you're trying to go with Bishop.
Yes.
Do you want an older kind of gruff Bishop, or do you want a younger like gung ho like yo we out here we getting this shit type Bishop? You know what I mean? We got a mission. We're gonna get them. We're gonna do this shit right now and clear this shit up, and I can go back to my future.
Exactly.
Oh hell, they can change him every time.
They could if they wanted to.
Yo, he comes back and he's older. What do you think about that, Triage?
It's not a bad idea, but it's one of them ones like where if we're gonna change him every single time, you're gonna have at least 2 or 3 people lined up to play him.
Yeah.
And I'm not against that, but it's also one of those things like where they'd all have to have the same kind of acting chop or bring something very significant to their portrayal of Bishop. Now, I think the older him makes sense because he'd be no nonsense. He'd be with the shits. He'd understand the severity of his actions. Like he'd walk around and shoot the wrong person, get into a firefight, and be like, "Damn, that's gonna have a negative effect on the future." Or he'd be more conscious of his actions because of that. Like if you had a younger him that just went back in time, gun ho, like fucking traitors, just shooting everything in sight.
Well, that's the thing. They do say that that's how he was when he first came back. Only when he first had his first interaction with them. You know, when he finally agreed to come on with the X-Men, like he was like rude, shrewd. He was like shooting holes in the walls. He tended to act brashly, such as shooting through walls rather than using the door when an intruder alarm sounded.
Like, whoa, mosquito, bang.
Yeah, pow, pow, pow. Now we need a new roof. You know, so that would be pretty interesting. That would definitely be pretty interesting.
The bitch, this chicken is cold.
Pow, pow, pow. Oh man. No, I think that would be really good. I feel like if they were to bring in Bishop, they gotta do it right, which means they gotta do the X-Men right. You know, and I like what they did with 97. You know what I mean? Especially when it came to the Summers being a big part of that storyline. I thought the shit was fun. I thought it was creative. It didn't feel like they did it before. You know what I mean? And then it gave a good send off to Bishop to go forward in time.
Yeah.
Because he was still there from the first time he went from no, I think that was the second time. He was still there from the second time because they had just came off the Age of Ultron. I'm sorry, not Age of Ultron. Age of Apocalypse. Right? That's the Age of Apocalypse is how the original 90s series ended.
No,
No.
it wasn't Age of Apocalypse. I want to say it was I can't remember, but I don't think it was that. I want to say it was the whole thing with the phalanx.
Huh.
The phalanx was like the Marvel equivalent to Brainiac. If memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, I can't remember. I cannot remember for the life of me. But yeah, Bishop was still there from that, because when the show starts up, he's still there chilling. So he was there left over from the ending of that. So that was a nice way to get him, back to the future. I don't know. I just feel like I feel like they could use Bishop to open up some really big, to open up some really big segues. Use Bishop as a segue to open up into some larger storylines. And then within those storylines, introduce other characters and other situations that kind of just branch off. You know what I mean? So it's like they can start their own universe within the MCU universe while having it all connected.
The other thing is too, is that if this comes down to a whole thing with species, this will bring a lot of other people to the X-Men side potentially. Because let's not forget the government did just declare war on all aliens.
Oof.
Let's not forget that we have seen renditions of the Inhumans.
Mm-hmm.
We all know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't canon, but I don't know about the rest of you motherfuckers, but I am patiently waiting to see Daisy Johnson again.
I heard a rumor that because I think somebody had asked Feige about it, and he said that they're trying to find a way. I heard him say that they are trying to find a way to canonize it. But it's like, if you would have just kept going with what you had, they would have been canon.
Yeah.
You started them off as canon, then retconned them essentially, and now you're trying to figure out a way to make them canon again. That just don't make any. It just don't make any sense to me. But either way, if you really think about it, because that would be pretty interesting. Because like I said, they just declared war on all aliens. Well, they specifically declared war on the Skrull, but we all know how humans are. They're immediately gonna that hate or whatever towards the Skrull are gonna turn into hate and prejudice towards all aliens, and then there's gonna be that turmoil, and then boom, what? There's mutants now? What? And now it's gonna carry over hate into them. Like, no, what up with all you different motherfuckers up in here? Like, they're gonna be on some Sam Jackson shit. I'm sick and tired of these motherfucking weirdos, these motherfucking freaks on my motherfucking planet.
That escalated real quickly.
And I feel like it would, because if you have a race of people who are already been pushed to the edge and already panicked and freaking out about one thing, you throw something else as big as a whole separate species of humans that have been living amongst them for decades, centuries, it's gonna flip. Their minds have already been flipped on their heads with the introduction to aliens, right? But now they're being now everything they know has been flipped on their heads again when you find out that you've had aliens walking amongst you for decades. Some of your friends, you can't even trust your friends to know if they're an alien or not.
Yeah.
And then now you're getting hit with, by the way, for God knows how long, there's been people with powers that have just been walking amongst you that are mutations, and especially if they spin it with Magneto's good old Homo superior style.
Yeah, we gotta find something better than that.
We have to find something better. Because even though the X-Men is supposed to represent the oppressed minorities, when you say Homo superior, that I get White Hood vibes from that.
Whoa, whoa, that wasn't even where I was going with that.
No,
that
I
wasn't
do.
remotely where I was going with that.
Saying when you say Homo superior, like it gives me like the same vibe that saying mutie gives me. Like even though they're from the opposite end of the spectrum, I still feel like but yeah, once you throw that phrase in there, now people are like, hold on, no, wait. We can't trust. You're telling me we can't trust our friends because they might be aliens, right? And then we can't trust, we can't trust other people because we can't even trust our kids because they might end up being, the next evolution of humanity, and they're looking down on me, and my jobs are at risk now. And they're gonna put me out of business. They're gonna copulate with my family. And now you know what I'm saying. Like you're and you got to look at it as like as like IRL society. You know what I mean? Like today, if they were like, "Hey, yo, aliens are real," they're like, "We're gonna be like, okay, aliens are real." You say aliens have been living on this earth for the last 5 decades, and we didn't tell you. Oh, hell will break loose. All hell will break loose. Right?
I mean, people would be upset.
Yeah. And then you tell them shortly after, and then you tell them, oh, by the way, there's a whole nother race of humans that are coming along, and you're probably gonna go extinct. Yeah, people are gonna lose their shit. So I think that would be a perfect kind of setup and segue into the MCU that will really rock the MCU. But they want to do the Fantastic Four.
Listen, I'm not against the Fantastic Four as long as it's done correctly.
Yeah, I'm not either. I like the way they look.
And if I'm keeping it a stack, the Fantastic Four probably should have been done because
they should have.
We need Reed Richards in the middle of this handling some shit.
Yeah,
that's very true. That's very true.
Listen, as long as they don't turn them into waffly pussies versions of themselves, as long as we don't have Ben Grimm handing out tacos, as long as we don't have Reed Richards, somewhere living the domestic life with it while teaching his son Franklin how to sled. I'm just saying.
I mean, you got to take some liberties with there being the first family. We're going to see a lot of that with these because it seems like these guys are very super family oriented. So I can definitely see like it getting to that point at some point with them. But I mean, granted, in the King of Black storyline, not only was Reed and them, getting busy on Earth, fighting on Earth and shit, but Franklin and his brother and sister were up on a whole nother planet, fucking fighting over there. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do, especially when it comes to the X-Men, bringing them in, and most definitely interested in who they cast for Bishop and how they bring Bishop in. That's what I would say. But is there anything else you guys want to add before we sign off tonight?
Not really.
I mean, honestly, everything we've talked about, like that we've said about what our hopes are, I mean, that's all we can do.
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly, you got it. You hit it on the money right there, Jay. All we can do is hope.
Yeah.
We can just hope that they do it right. Hope that they listen to the fans. Hope that they tune in to the Super Breakdown Sundays at 7 p.m. on all your favorite streaming platforms. Hopefully they tune in and they hear us and they're like, oh wow, these guys, they got the right idea. Let's do it. Yeah. Don't listen to the bad stuff we say about you. Don't listen to the bad stuff we say about you. Last thing I wanted is the mouse knocking on my door. Just, oh, you like to talk shit, eh?
That mouse shows up on my door, I'm gonna cut its ears off and shove him up his funky ass.
Oh man,
not the mouse. Oh man. Well, with that being said, man, this has been a Super Breakdown. This has been another awesome, really fun episode. Please, seriously, tune in Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check your local listings. Check your time zone. Things gonna be a little different depending where you are. All of our episodes will stream directly to YouTube as well. They go directly up to YouTube after we are finished streaming. So please go check us out on YouTube, The Super Breakdown Podcast. Check us out on our Instagram, The Super Breakdown Podcast. Check us out on Facebook, The Super Breakdown Podcast. We're everywhere, man. We're everywhere. Same thing, Kick, Twitch. We live stream on our YouTube. We live stream on Kick. We live stream on Twitch. YouTube, man. We are everywhere. Please go check us out. Check out our website, thesuperbreakdown.com, for all of our merch and updates. You can also watch us there too, because our shows directly go up on our website as well. So definitely tune in. We got a lot going. We got a lot coming for you guys. It's gonna be amazing. But again, until next time, remember, fuck prep time.
Fuck prep time.
Fuck prep time.
Yeah. Peace.